What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Diablo, Resurrected. So here now is another PTR character that Vicarious Visions have laid out for us to use and test with these new additions in D2R. Like the Sunder Charms and like the Terror Zones. I'm curious what you guys have to say about these changes. Alright, I'll probably go on about it in later videos or whatever. But I mean, on the plus side, at least now, as a Fire Druid in this example, we can kind of see what they're made of. Because the problem is, in Hell, obviously, there are just so many fire immunes. Especially in the places that I like to run. And many of which, the level 12 Conviction from Infinity doesn't break their immunity. So, this really... it enables us to try something new that we haven't been able to try before. Just killing a bunch of these old fire immunes with fire skills and with lightning, even for that matter, even though lightning was always pretty much the best element to go with outside of, say, cold. But cold, you were limited, very limited where you could farm. But let's see how well this fares. So I have a Heart of the Oak on this guy that Vicarious Visions supplied us with. Mage Fist. Stone of Jordan, Arak, another SOJ, Alder's Boots. I don't know if they don't play the game or if they just wanted to make it more of a challenge, but they didn't give us Phoenix for whatever reason. Phoenix would be absolutely godly with this build, with the Redemption Aura, and is it the 28% Fire Pierce, or is it 23? I can't remember. I feel like it might be 28. In addition to other things, of course. This amulet, I guess, is okay. I'd rather have a Marrows, especially if they don't even want to max out our res here, so that's fine. A Raven Lore with nothing in it, no socket, but at least it has the Pierce and the Elemental skills and a Rain Armor. And of course, I would have much preferred an Enigma, but that's fine. So here's a couple charms we have. Maybe they weren't looking for endgame, because these are just kind of random crap charms here, but what we have here now is the Flame Rift. Monster fire immunity is sundered, meaning it is broken down to 95 resist if they're immune to fire. And then your resist, your fire resist, loses 75 res. So you're going to have to really try to make up for that in charms and everything else if you want to survive fire. But let's see how well this build does. It looks like it's using Fire Storm. I'm not really familiar with using a Fire Druid, so this will be fun. Let's see how it goes. Here's the Molten Boulder with fire damage of 1100 and a 900 fire damage per second, and a basic physical damage of 1500, so that'll be nice. Visture. I think this is the more commonly used skill for these guys. Volcano does okay damage, and Armageddon. Pretty nice looking damage there with a 50-second duration. So my hopes are that they will give us a better duration on Armageddon, but let's see how well this goes. Unfortunately, I can't teleport into them. What do I have on Switch? Call to Arms. I don't know if I want to use that shit. I'll use it. Use the Call to Arms. And now I should cast the Armageddon. Oh my god! Oh my god! Look at this! Yeah, I'm gonna get that thing. I don't really need it. Don't really need that thing because my mercenary has insight. What the hell? Oh, it's a non-ethereal. That's fine. It's weird on some of the other characters they put ethereal. G-Face and Treachery. Okay, so that's... No! Life Leech! Doesn't have any Life Leech. He's gonna get his ass kicked. At least I have some battle orders going on here. Oh my god! If only I could... Is this Hell? Okay, so this is Hell mode. Oh my god! He's obliterating shit! To be honest with you guys, I know I haven't experimented much yet with this guy, but just seeing this right now, I want to have a fire droid. I want to make a fire droid and aspire to get great things. I would like to get the good stuff with him. I mean, imagine this shit with infinity. Oh my god. So I'm gonna go to the Chaos Sanctuary. Hot damn! Thick! Thicky. Negative 15% to enemy fire res. Okay, and even says the Sundered thing right here. Now, you can only wear one Sundered charm at a time, right? You guys have any idea, or I gotta test this out? I mean, I assume you can only wear one at a time, but I don't know. Some argue that this is like killing hybrid builds and all that. Maybe it is. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. So I'm only piercing their fires by 15. Hot damn. So no facets here. The only pierce I have is this thing right there. Isn't that new helm? Isn't that new helm? Doesn't that give fire pierce? And it also gives 3 to fire skills? And it gives holy fire res. Maybe, or resist fire aura. Maybe that's a better route over is there a reason to wear Raven? I mean, nobody uses the Ravens. This thing needs to be reworked big time. Rework. I mean, give it like plus 40 Ravens or some shit. No, just make it. Just somehow get it to make Ravens viable in hell a little bit. You know, some use to them. I mean, what do they even do? At least they can blind the target. Look at this. They're doing 48 damage. But anyway, I want to see how well this guy can handle the cast sanctuary. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to walk my ass there. Yep! Look at that. Oh my god! Holy freaking toad! I didn't even use Volcano yet. Here, use some Volcano. But doesn't Volcano suck dick? Let's take a look. Volcano's over there, okay. See that? Volcano's over there. My mercenary is doing some damage up in here. Oh my god! Imagine this with Phoenix, though. I mean, you're going to be piercing the res by another 28% or so. You're going to be, like, freaking immortal for most of the game with your redemption aura, as long as you're killing things. Yeah, that would be epic. I can't remember. Can your sages die in this, or is that PD2? So they can't die. Can your sages not die here? I can't remember if they die or not. And they still would display the life. Here, I'm going to cast it over here. Can they die? We cast it right in the middle of all that bullshit. Yep, they can die. Alright, he's dead. Yeah, it was PD2 where they made him invulnerable. Oh my god! So this, we're not really facing any fire immunes here. So let me take this to the Cast Sanctuary where we will find some fire immunes. Alright. But what's your impression of this patch so far? Have you guys been experimenting on the PTR? The Cold Sorceress, obviously, they have an embedded pierce in their Cold Mastery where you can pierce the enemy's cold res by like 150 or some shit if you invest in it. And some would argue that's pretty damn powerful, while coupled with the fact that you can now break all cold immunes and render them to 95. Then in addition to that, piercing the shit out of it. You know what I mean? So aren't Cold Sorks like gonna be... They're gonna be a lot better. You know, they're gonna be a lot better than what they are. And they already were great, obviously. Oh my god, look at this ring. 10 FCR, 10 Dex, and 29 Fire Res. Quite nice. Oops, didn't mean to get that. That's fine. So here's an example of some fire immunes. Little Sage keeps dying. Keeps getting that little tail swatted. But the Cold Immune Sorceresses, like, they're already really damn good. Isn't that what, like, everybody plays? But in favor of this whole implementation or whatever is how the Paladins, the Hammerdins, I know it's often argued that they're kind of OP. It's really bringing a lot of classes up to par a little bit, if anything. Except for Melee, of course. Melee completely got the shaft here. But the Hammerdins, you rarely run into magic immunes anyway. You have that Wave and Bale, they're all magic immune. And you pretty much just have to cheese through them. And that's really your only hang-up in general. Unless if you're farming some weird-ass areas. But then again, now with the terror zones, you're going to be potentially farming in more places that have more magic immunes. But magic immunes are just kind of rare. So it's not really benefiting. I mean, it's definitely benefiting the Hammerden, but it's bringing like the cold sword and the fire sword and even the lightning sword for that matter, just a little bit more up in competition with them. Javazan is going to obliterate everything. It seems to kind of render facets and griffins a bit less useful. They're still going to be extremely useful, but the thing is, in the past, when you'd have infinity break and immunity, the shit was only 1/5 effectiveness. So after breaking the immunity with the level 12 conviction, you had to improvise, because it was still going to be hard to kill many light immunes with just an infinity, unless if you're wielding it on your sword, of course, in which case you could take advantage of the 55 lightning pierce that infinity has on it. But if you're not wielding it on your sword, it's gonna be difficult. So then it comes down to the whole min and maxing concept, which is a good time, right? That's like endgame stuff where you're min and maxing your sorceress. You're trying to find those perfect facets or perfect griffins and socket it with what you find to be most optimal for your build. Those items, granted, they're still going to be very useful, but it's not going to really separate the babies from the big boys quite as much as it did in the past. Because if you get an infinity, the level 12 conviction on a non-immune is going to pierce them from 95 with your Sunder Charm. It's going to pierce that like 60% or something. I don't know the number to the exact. I think it's like 60% pierce. It's somewhere around there. Or is it 80? It's something pretty impressive. So you're going to really destroy shit. So I'm curious if you guys think that's a good idea for this to be like a lasting thing in Diablo 2. It seems like if they're going to keep this, I don't know if the terror zones are enough. Because aren't guys like already just blowing through the terror zones anyway? But of course, Diablo 2 was never really about challenging the hell out of your character, because once you get fully geared and you're one of the many cookie cutter builds, you pretty much obliterate hell anyway. So it was never so much about that, but this is just making even more of a it's making the characters even more powerful against the enemies, maybe. So it might kind of feel like Diablo 3 if this stays the way it is. But what do you guys think about that? I mean, how would they implement more endgame content if we can just break all the immunes? You could say, well, you need to make a new difficulty or something where the enemies have like 5 times the HP, and you can still do the same thing you're doing to their resist. Or maybe it's too much. Oh, I'm gonna die here. Maybe it's too much to be able to render their res to 95, and then, in addition to that, pierce the hell out of it. Maybe that's just too much. Maybe we shouldn't be allowed to pierce the enemies whose resistances we break with the Sunder Charms. So then it's going to be a 95 resist, and it's going to be a pain in the ass killing them, but it's still going to be possible. But that might be going too far against the player. Well, you're just going to resort back to the primarily just fighting non-immunes all the time and searching the areas where you can do that. But what do you guys think the solution is? I mean, there's a reason why I'm not a game developer or some shit. Alright? Because I was never really interested in that. And trying to figure this shit out and make it, have it a lasting effect and appealing to the masses or whatever. So I'm curious what you guys think would be best, if these changes should stay. But here's the droid without Enigma, without Infinity, with only piercing their res by 15%. In fact, Molten Boulder is probably the spell I should have been using this whole time. Let me try some more Molten Boulder. What I do kind of like about PD2 is how the Druid has a teleport skill. Because then not everyone needs to have Enigma endgame. So maybe that's not a bad idea. The Druid, the Necromancer both have a teleport skill. in PD2. Because then not everyone has to have Enigma. I mean, another solution would be have an item like Tyrael's Might actually have a use, and maybe you could have a teleport on Tyrael's Might. Or, like Diablo 4 with the mythic items, where you could identify a unique, and it would potentially roll, it would have a very rare chance of rolling a special attribute from another unique. In this context, though, then one of those uniques would have to have teleport, which isn't the case right now. But say that it did. Then you could potentially roll a Shaco with teleport. Or, I mean, that would be extremely valuable. Say that this would be very rare. Maybe you'd roll like a Vamp Gaze with teleport, or something like that, and that would be awesome. But it would help put all the useless uniques to use, is kind of the reason behind that. Because of the endless amounts of uniques that are just so far behind the endgame items, where they just barely even have any use at all. Which there are many. But say that you were to find some useless-ass unique, I mean, say that Meng Song's Lesson Falls, or Templar's Might, which is quite rare as well. There's just no excitement finding those things outside of the fact that it's just a collector's item. What if there was actually some use involved in finding it, where you knew if you identify it, there's a slim chance this is going to roll a mod from another unique in the game, and maybe it'll roll something awesome, to where you'd actually use the damn thing. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll roll amplify damage on striking from Atma's Amulet, or from Lacerator, even better yet, a 33%. Imagine how awesome that would be. Now, these could be restricted, where you could only get weapon mods on weapons, or things like that, but it could be completely open. I think it'd be awesome if it were completely open. But these are just, you know, just kind of talking out of my toad here, but what do you guys think about those potential changes? Like I said, I'm not... There's a reason why I'm not a game developer and never wanted to be one. But I don't know. Maybe there's there has to be more to it, you know? And some are saying that melee just got the complete shaft here. I think at the least there should be splash damage. Just give them some splash damage. I can't really think of a better solution, so, to make melee a bit more viable. Because now, with how casters will most likely be able to do Ubers with relative ease, the one niche that the melee players had isn't going to be their niche anymore. You know what I mean? Actually destroying Diablo without great gear. Alright, so that wasn't bad. But there's the fire droid, not very well geared, and doing a pretty good job. I mean, you do have Hoto. This armor isn't all that expensive. Pretty cheap, actually. The helm. You could make that for cheaper, maybe, or you could probably trade for this for pretty cheap as well. But there's that fire helm. Does that require a Vex rune? I think that requires a Vex rune, in fact. So... you might be better off trading for a Ravenlore for budget purposes. I'll have to look at the stats to decide which one I think would be better overall. Which also might depend on the rest of your gear. So fire, res suck ass if that's the case. Oh my god! No! Didn't really want to end the video on a death, but you know what? Okay, gonna end the video on a death. So, if you guys will, like the video, subscribe to the page, let me know your thoughts on the topics I mentioned throughout this video, if you will, in the comments below. If you want to support me, you can become a patron or a channel member. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace be with you.